Deborah Kiley and Brad Kavanaugh were stranded at sea for 4 days, along with 3 other crewmates who slowly, one by one, were eaten by sharks. This is their story. Deborah and Brad spent most of their lives as crew members on yachts sailing around the world, and in October of 1982, they joined the 58-foot sailing yacht known as Trashman. So John was the captain of the Trashman, and he brought along his girlfriend for the trip named Meg. There was one additional crew member named Mark. So they were assigned to take the boat from Annapolis, Maryland, down to Florida to meet up with the boat's owner. During the trip, Brad and Deborah started to notice that Captain John seemed a little strange, and he kept making excuses to go down below deck. Soon, they began to realize that Captain John was actually afraid of the ocean. Then, Captain John and other crew member Mark started drinking pretty heavily, basically leaving Deborah and Brad as the only two capable of sailing this ship. And as luck would have it, suddenly a massive storm starts to approach, and they get stuck in the middle of it. The weather starts ripping at around 80 miles per hour and creating waves around 40 foot tall. The waves became so strong that they actually started tearing holes in the boat. So the boat begins to sink. Now, all 5 of them actually happen to make it onto the lifeboat, but unfortunately Meg was severely injured in the process. So Meg ends up getting severe cuts that cause tons of bleeding, and that surrounds the water, causing a massive frenzy of sharks to follow their lifeboat the entire journey. So now they have a big problem. They're stuck in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. They have no water, no supplies, and John and Mark, who had been drinking so much, became dehydrated from the alcohol, so they start drinking seawater. Is definitely not the thing you want to do. So now, John is having hallucinations. Well, on the 3rd day, he says, I'm going to just swim to shore, and jumps into the ocean. He's immediately attacked and killed by sharks. Then, a short while later, Mark, who is also experiencing hallucinations, says, hey, I'm going to go get some cigarettes, and he jumps into the water. He's immediately attacked by a frenzy of sharks, so much so it starts spinning the boat around and turns all the water around them red. Then later that night, Meg finally succumbed to her injuries, and Brad and Deborah had to toss her into the water, to which point she was also eaten by sharks. Then miraculously, on day 4, near death themselves, a Russian cargo ship off the point of Cape Hatteras actually spots them and was able to bring them to safety.